At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 440 of the True Crime All the Time Unsolved podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Mike Gibson. Gibby, how are you?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
We talked about it on Patreon and TCAT, where you and I both are kind of experiencing bad backs at the moment.
We are.
But we'll power through.
And on muscle relaxers.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and give our Patreon shout-outs. We had Lexi B jump out at our highest level.
What up, B?
Annalise Larinega.
Hey, Annalise.
Book Lady.
Well, thanks, Book Lady.
Sarah Compton.
What's up, Compton?
Steph Myrick.
Hey, Myrick.
Crystal Malhas.
Malhas.
Thomas Watson.
What's up, Watson?
Sarah Janowitz.
You know, Watson's, pretty good detective, too.
Is he?
Yeah. He's
Okay.
from the famous Watson family.
All right, I got you.
So, what's going on, Janowitz?
Paul Armstrong.
Hey, Paul.
And last but not least, Debbie Brown Gatos.
Hey, Debbie.
And then we go back into the vault. This week, we selected Robert Blitz.
Thanks, RB.
So we appreciate all that Patreon support. We have a brand new episode out right now on True Crime All the Time, where we're talking about a Cleveland firefighter named William Walker, who was fatally shot in his driveway in 2013. It was about a year after that a Crime Stoppers tip led police to look into those closest to William as suspects. And it's a very, interesting case. There are a ton of people wrapped up into it. And so I think people will enjoy it. Check it out. All right, buddy, are you ready to get into this episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved?
I am ready.
We're talking about the unsolved murder of Judy Rawlings. 16-year-old Judy Rawlings was reported missing from her family's home on October 5th, 2001. 2 weeks later, her body was found in the woods. Police have identified a suspect, but the murder remains unsolved over 20 years later.
That's a long time to be unsolved when you have identified a suspect.
The person who you believe was responsible.
Yeah.
But these types of unsolved cases are some of the more fascinating ones for me, because it's not like the police are in the wind, right? They believe they know who did it, but they haven't been able to put what they've needed together to charge this person and try the person. So we'll find out why that is. Judy Carol Rawlings was born on April 5th, 1985 in Randolph County, North Carolina. Judy lived with her family in the unincorporated community of Sophia. Judy's mother, Tammy Schmidt, described her as a funny person who always tried to keep others happy. Judy was a freshman at Randleman High School. However, at the time of her death, Judy was no longer attending school and was not working. According to Judy's sister, Tiffany Collins, Judy was hanging out with friends who were not good people. She hung out with local brothers Tony and David Sierra, who were also her neighbors. Tammy didn't want Judy around them and told her to stay away from them.
Did you ever have that problem? Hanging out with the wrong crowd?
Once a week for the last 8 years. No, I know what you mean. I mean, I had people in my life that I considered good friends that, let's just say, maybe didn't always make the best decisions, were doing things that my parents wouldn't approve of.
Yeah.
Sometimes they dragged me into it. Sometimes I would refrain, but I'll leave it at that.
Interesting. I wonder if you were the bad influence on people. Like,
I don't think so.
No?
No, I was one of those kind of, for the most part, toe the line, kind of law abiding person.
Gotcha.
I never really wanted to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Now, if I thought I could get away with some things, I might do some stuff, but we're talking small time.
You were okay walking in that gray line?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but I had to be real sure that there were going to be no repercussions.
Yeah.
Tammy last saw Judy around 7:30 a.m. on October 3rd, 2001. Tammy had cancer and had to get up early to go to an appointment in Greensboro. Judy wasn't home when Tammy returns, but Tammy learned from her mother, Judy's grandmother, that she had given Judy permission to go riding on 18-year-old Tony Sierra's four-wheeler. Tammy said she had never done this before. You ever ride or drive four-wheelers?
I have.
They're a lot of fun.
They are a lot of fun.
They can be very dangerous.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
But like a lot of things that are fun, they come with a little bit of danger. Tammy looked for Judy in their neighborhood before reporting her missing on October 5th, 2001. On October 19th of that year, a hunter found Judy's body about half a mile away from her home. She was found in a field off Groom Road, described as a winding gravel lane. The High Point Enterprise reported that Judy was found near a trail where she'd been known to ride four-wheelers with her friends. And I don't think it's a coincidence, Gibbs, that in a lot of the unsolved cases that we do, and solved cases for that matter, many bodies are found by hunters.
Yeah, I mean, they're in secluded, wooded areas, which who's going to go into those areas? Most likely a hunter.
Right. Not many other people, right? There'd be no other reason unless you're out maybe hunting.
Yeah. Why else would you be in there? Unless you're just a nature lover.
Bird watcher, you know. But we don't talk about a lot of bird watchers.
We don't.
We talk about a lot of hunters.
Yeah.
The following details were not immediately made public. Judy's body had been concealed by tree limbs. Her remains were significantly decomposed, showing that she had been dead for some time. Animals had also gotten to some of the remains. Judy's pants and underwear were found near her body, not on her body. One of her shoes was also missing. Investigators couldn't collect evidence for a sexual assault exam due to decomposition, but it was highly suspected. Judy was assaulted because her pants were removed.
Just kind of logically thinking, right? Her pants are removed, her underwear is removed, so...
Yeah, she's not wearing any of that. It's found, somewhere else near her body. On October 23rd, 2001, the Randolph County Sheriff's Office confirmed the body was Judy Rawlings. The medical examiner used dental records to identify her. Investigators didn't immediately say whether foul play was suspected. And I get it. They don't want to come out and say it, right off the bat. But I think given the details that we talked about, now we said they weren't made to the public right off, but given those details, how could you really think anything other than foul play? When you talk about maybe someone wanting to end their life, okay, could they go to a secluded area to do that? Well, sure. But how would they have done it? They didn't find any evidence, right, that would support that. There's no gun laying nearby.
Right. And why would you take off your pants? And why would you grab limbs and cover yourself up underneath it?
Yes.
None of it makes any sense.
Yeah. Why would you take your clothes off if you were going to do that? I mean, I think it all kind of screams foul play. The investigation into Judy's cause of death was ongoing. The Greensboro News and Record reported that the land where Judy was found was owned by a man named Tony Farlow, who owned a local gas station convenience store called Farlow Oil Company. His son Wyatt was hunting raccoons with a friend when he noticed a foul odor in the area. He found a purse beside a four-wheeler path. They opened the purse and discovered it was Judy's. At that point, they called the police. It was reported that the Farlows were friends with the Rawlings family.
Well, it had to be rough then.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be rough, right? Anytime you find a dead body. But even rougher, if you know the person, know the family, have that type of connection. Judy's body was found about 100 yards from her purse. Retired lead investigator Mark Brady said in an interview years later, the location where she was found had to have been known by somebody from here. Nobody from the outside would have found that place. And that's something you hear law enforcement say quite a bit, right? You have an area that they deem to be remote, an area that, an outsider just wouldn't know about or just probably wouldn't stumble upon. So what does that mean?
I think when you realize where the body is, it has to be somebody local because they're going to know where these spots are. They're going to know where the trails are. How do you get there? How do you get out of there? And what's the chances of somebody coming along and finding the body? And I think if you're not local, what's the odds of you ever finding this location?
Yeah, could a outsider stumble upon it? Maybe. But I get why law enforcement would, kind of move under the assumption that this is probably somebody local. Later that month, deputies searched the home of Tony Sierra, who told police he gave Judy a ride to the Farlow Oil Company convenience store around 11:30 p.m. on October 4th, 2001. He gave Judy a ride in exchange for 3 cigarettes.
The old, give me a couple cigarettes and I'll do it for you. I was never a smoker, so I don't know how that works, but I know people that do smoke, and they value cigarettes pretty strongly.
Well, for a long time in prison, cigarettes were like currency.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I don't know how anybody smokes because a pack of cigarettes is like $800. I mean, they are very, very expensive. So he gives her this ride. Judy was supposed to be meeting someone. The News and Record noted that Farlow Oil Company closes at 9 p.m. on weeknights. Tony didn't ask Judy why she wanted to go to the store after hours. He claimed he didn't see anyone there when he dropped her off. Afterwards, he claimed he went straight home and his parents were there. Tony gave his statement to police on October 20th, the day after Judy was found. So we do have a little bit of a strange hitch here in that, he is taking her and dropping her off, according to him, like 2.5 hours after the place closes.
Yeah.
Now, he said it was because she was supposed to be meeting someone. Sheriff Richard Hurley told the press that investigators didn't believe Judy and Tony were dating. They were part of a group of friends that hung out together and frequently rode ATVs around the trails in the area. According to the affidavit for the search warrant, investigators were suspicious of Tony's story because Judy's mother told police she was afraid of the dark. It was unlikely she would have been out so late. The fact that Tony said he was with Judy and his familiarity with off-road trails was probable cause for the warrant.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. He knows the trails. He was with her.
And I think the authorities have to be somewhat dubious, right, of his story. Not that it couldn't have happened, but there has to be a little doubt. Deputies served the warrant on October 24, 2001. They were looking for a sneaker, blood, hair, and fibers. They seized 2 ATVs, a letter written by Judy, Polaroid photos, jean shorts, empty cigarette packs, and plastic bags containing what appeared to be marijuana and seeds, planting soil, and a heat lamp.
So they got a pretty good amount of items to go through.
Yeah. I mean, looks like maybe somebody was, trying to grow a little pot. After Judy's body was found, her missing shoe was found at the top of a ridge, close to the crime scene. Retired lead investigator Mark Brady later said about the evidence, I think they basically were in a panic to get rid of the body and scattered debris. In a 2019 interview with the outlet WFMY, Tammy recalled that She went to the site 6 months later and found a bone. She said in the same interview, "I had told them all along. I felt like the boys had done something to my child, and they needed to get out there and find her." On November 15, 2001, detectives served a warrant to collect blood, saliva, and hair samples from Tony Sierra to compare to trace evidence found on Judy's body. According to the affidavit for the search warrant, Tony Ray Sierra Jr. made statements against his own penal interests by telling investigators that he was the last one to see her alive. The statements have caused this applicant to focus primarily on Tony Ray Sierra Jr. And I get that. I mean, just because you are the last person or the last known person to see someone alive, it doesn't mean you had something to do with their disappearance or death. What it does mean is that, you're going to be on police radar.
Yeah, until they can figure out why you're the last person to see them, you are going to be on top of their list.
Judy's autopsy report was completed in December 2001. Her body was largely skeletonized, except for the torso. She was found face down and was nude below the waist. Her right arm was positioned over her head. Twisted around her right wrist was a nylon strap with a plastic clip, which appeared to be a binding. No cause of death was determined.
Not painting a great picture
of what ultimately happened to her?
Yeah.
No, not at all. Dr. Deborah Radish, who performed the autopsy, reported that Judy's death was extremely suspicious and she may have been killed. Although there was no cause of death, authorities were still treating the case as a homicide. Again, I don't know how you couldn't. I get it. The medical examiner or the coroner, they can't come out and say homicide. But how could you not treat it that way as far as the investigation goes, given the circumstances?
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Happy Mammoth, the brand dedicated to making women's lives easier with science-backed, nature-inspired supplements. One of their best sellers is the prebiotic collagen protein, designed to support gut health and overall well-being. Most collagen powders on the market only focus on skin, hair, and nails. Happy Mammoth's prebiotic collagen protein goes a step further. It combines grass-fed collagen peptides with prebiotic fibers to help nourish your gut bacteria. It's formulated specifically for women's needs. This unique blend means you're not just taking collagen, you're giving your body a complete gut and wellness boost. My wife has dealt with occasional digestive discomfort for years. And since adding prebiotic collagen protein, she's noticed a real lift in energy and overall well-being. Happy Mammoth uses only science-backed ingredients formulated for women. They never compromise on quality. And that really shows in the benefits their customers experience. Right now, you can try prebiotic collagen protein risk-free and get 15% off your entire first order with code UNSOLVED at checkout. That's happymammoth.com. Use code UNSOLVED for 15% off today. Folks, when Gibby and I started this podcast, we had to figure out everything on our own. The technology, logos, how to actually produce a podcast. It was all super overwhelming. Finding the right tool that not only helps you out, but simplifies everything can be such a game changer. For millions of businesses, that tool is Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all commerce in the U.S. And we here at True Crime All the Time Unsolved use Shopify for our podcast merchandise. And ever since we switched, life has been so much easier. Get started with your own design studio. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style. Easily create email and social media campaigns. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/TCAT. Go to shopify.com/TCATT, shopify.com/TCAT. In January 2002, it was reported that police were awaiting tests from the State Bureau of Investigation They were also re-interviewing witnesses to look for new leads. Back on December 31st, 2001, deputies served another search warrant for blood, hair, and saliva samples from Tony's brother David, who was 16 at the time. The affidavit stated that Tony said he took Judy to the store on a four-wheeler that belonged to his brother.
What does that mean?
Well, I'm assuming they wanted to be able maybe to differentiate between Tony and David when it came to forensic evidence. In April 2002, Judy's family hired a private detective to investigate her murder. Tammy expressed her frustration to the News and Record. She believed deputies should have searched the area after Judy was reported missing. She told police she didn't believe Judy ran away and asked them to use a police dog to track her. Police might have been able to find Judy's body earlier. Tammy worried deputies weren't able to collect enough DNA evidence because the remains were badly decomposed.
I mean, it's a justified statement on her part. She's upset because the police, in her mind, didn't search for her daughter in the right area quick enough. And if they would have, her body wouldn't have been so decomposed, and they could have maybe got some better leads off of it because of the DNA.
Or maybe they didn't use all the resources that she thought they should have. I mean, what is a true statement is that if the police would have found her sooner, the chances are good that the evidence they would have collected would have been better. Right? I think that's pretty safe to say.
Sure.
In March, Sheriff Richard Hurley said he wished the family had reported Judy missing sooner. He said there were 3 days there that we didn't know anything about this girl being missing. 3 days are important when you're looking for somebody like this. I don't know that would have made any difference, but I would have liked to have had it 3 days before we got it.
Sounds like a little blame game going back and forth.
Yeah, and again, you could say, okay, that statement makes sense as well. I mean, some of these are perfect scenario type examples.
Yeah.
Right? In a perfect world, you'd want the information as soon as you could get it.
Exactly.
In a perfect world, you'd want every resource available out searching for this girl.
Yep. But it doesn't work that way.
In August 2002, police said the state lab had done 11 DNA tests in the case, but they didn't comment on the results. In October of that year, Tony Sierra was arrested and charged with first-degree rape of a child. Authorities later filed charges of taking indecent liberties with a child and incest.
That's not good.
These are nasty, nasty charges. Tony was accused of sexually assaulting a 12-year-old girl. In May 2001, Department of Social Services workers interviewed the girl, leading to the arrest. A few months before this, on April 30th, Tony was charged with possession of stolen property, felony larceny, and larceny after breaking and entering. On October 12th, he was charged with driving while impaired with a provisional license, and speeding. So, I mean, in the span of how many months, this guy got in quite a bit of trouble. Now, you talk about these charges of sexual assault against children. And that's just, those are tough. There's just no way around it. But if true, does it kind of speak to the character of this guy? The authorities are already thinking, okay, this is the last guy to see Judy Rawlings. Now you add some of this other context. Does it become less likely or more likely?
I think it becomes more likely, right? I mean, it just kind of cements your thought in.
Yeah, that at the very least, this is not a good person if all this is true.
Right.
You could also, maybe dive down some avenues. Did Judy find something out about some of these charges? Was he afraid that she was going to tell somebody? Now, these are all just theories, but you can dive down some of those paths. Sadly, Judy's case went cold, and no one was charged with her murder. In 2018, the Randolph County Sheriff's Office asked Crime Stoppers to increase its reward from $2,000 to $5,000. Family friend Ronnie Tate also offered a $10,000 reward. That year, Tammy Schmidt told Fox 8 they said they would have the case solved for me in a year, but it's been 17 years. I would like to know the truth about what happened to her. She didn't deserve this. She didn't deserve what happened to her. She was a good girl. She loved everybody, and her problem was she trusted everybody. Now, I understand, right? Police are going to say, hey, we're going to solve this. We're going to do everything we can. And it doesn't always happen.
And we know from the research, and we just said it, they did 11 DNA tests. We don't know what the results of those were, but clearly they weren't enough to move forward with charging someone.
But it's no surprise that Tammy's not happy, right? 17 years goes by and you don't know exactly what happened to your little girl. You don't know who did it. There's no way that you're going to be happy with the police, whether justified or not. You're just not going to be happy.
And because I'm not in that position, I wonder, is it tougher to know that there's somebody that probably might have done it, that you have awareness around? Or is it tougher to think, I don't even have a clue who could have done this?
For me, I think it would be tougher to have a lot of the signs pointing towards one person and not see them face justice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be tough no matter what.
Sure.
Randolph County detectives decided to take another look at the case by revisiting evidence and re-interviewing people. Investigator Justin McAdams told WFMY, "We are attempting to take advantage of some of those gains in technology. I can say that we do have a piece of evidence that we're interested in that we have sent back off for some advanced testing. In the future, there may be a few more pieces." And I think you hear things like that in many of these cases, right? There's evidence collected. But, as time goes by, technology advances in what can be done with that evidence, what can be extracted from that evidence. So, every so often, it's great to send it off to be retested, if it can be. In 2019, the show Breaking Homicide, hosted by PI Derek Levasseur, looked into Judy's case. He interviewed people in the community, including an anonymous informant who expressed suspicion regarding the Farlows. The informant said the Friday night that they found the body, two of the boys from up at the store Farlow Oil had been coon hunting and had smelled something. The informant noted that Wyatt Farlow and a friend were the first people to come upon the area. 2 weeks later, Wyatt discovered another piece of evidence that investigators had not yet found, one of Judy's shoes, which was over 50 yards from the body. According to the informant, the lead detective at the time, Mark Brady, said that they had looked and looked and looked. They took rakes, they raked back leaves, they never found the shoe. But then all of a sudden, this guy comes in and he finds it. And that's what always had me troubled. He kept finding clues that nobody else could find.
And that is strange. Maybe it's just pure luck.
Does seem to be a strange coincidence, though. You'd have to at least say that.
But if he had something to do with it, why would he bring evidence that could hurt him to the scene?
That's a good point. A good question. Levasseur spoke to Wyatt Farlow at Farlow Oil, who said his dad was running the store back in 2001. When asked what he was doing the night Judy was believed to have been killed, he said, "No telling what I was doing at that time."
I don't know if that's really a bad thing to say.
It is 18 years later.
Yeah. How are you going to remember what you were doing at that moment?
18 years ago?
Yeah.
He recounted the day he found the body with his hunting partner and acknowledged that he found Judy's shoe after her body was found. He said he never hung out with Judy. And I do think there could be a difference, right? If he didn't have anything to do with the murder, then that night would not be memorable for you. So to remember what you were doing would be very tough. But the day that you found the body, that would stick with you. So you might be able to describe that in a little more detail. This is all assuming, right, that this guy had nothing to do with the murder. Levasseur brought up the allegation that Farlow had people drinking after hours in the store, which Wyatt said was untrue. Wyatt was asked for his theory about what happened and said, "I'm still dead on them boys on four-wheelers, Tony and David, Sierra. The Sierra boys, she rode with them all the time." He then corrected himself and said it wasn't all the time, but he might see Judy with the brothers twice a week.
Frequent. I mean, if you're with somebody twice a week, every week, that's pretty frequent.
So what you're telling me is it's frequent? I got you.
Yeah.
I mean, what I think it does, if true, it demonstrates a pattern that they hung out, on a regular basis. But you do have to ask the question, right? Is this guy kind of deflecting back to the Sierra brothers to, take suspicion off of him? Or is that what he truly believes and he had nothing to do with it whatsoever? Levasseur spoke to Danny Cecil, a rancher who owned land next to the woods where Judy was found. Cecil was not interviewed by the police. He recalled that in October 2001, he and a friend were riding down the trails a quarter mile from his property and smelled a strong odor, but didn't think much of it. Then Judy's body was found. 2 days after the body was found, he was out riding his horse and heard a four-wheeler approaching. He saw two men on a four-wheeler. They appeared to be looking for something, and they almost ran into him. He had never seen them before. They said they were looking for a girlfriend's pocketbook. He never learned their identities. They were probably in their late teens or early 20s, with dark hair and scraggly beards. Cecil was shown a photo of Tony Sierra and said he looked pretty similar to one of the guys on the trail. He claimed he didn't know who Tony Sierra was. So here again, I think you have to preface everything with, if it's true, I don't know why this guy would lie. I don't know what reason he would have to do so. Then you have to ask yourself, if this really was Tony Sierra, is he out with his brother on a four-wheeler looking for evidence, looking for something that the police might find?
Yeah, is he looking for evidence to help the police, or is he looking for evidence to help himself?
And possibly get rid of evidence.
Yes.
Levasseur was not able to talk to Tony Sierra, but he did talk to his mother, Lisa Spencer, who said she had no doubt her sons had nothing to do with it. She claimed she saw Judy on the night in question because Tony spoke to her at the fence. And we talked about it earlier, right? Tony said he went home immediately after dropping Judy off, and both of his parents were present. In 2019, Lisa said she was working third shift and wasn't at home at midnight when Tony claimed he got there. Her husband was home, but he was probably sleeping. So again, there, if true, that kind of puts a little bit of a dent in his so-called alibi.
It does.
Because if his mom's not home and his dad's sleeping, then who's to say he went home? Now, what gets me, Gibbs, is why police wouldn't have vetted this out back then. Why would they not have talked to the mom? Why would they not have talked to the dad?
They should have. And they also should have talked to the neighbor.
Yeah, they definitely should have done that. And maybe they did talk to the mom and dad. And they just didn't release the contents of that discussion. True Crime All the Time Unsolved is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations. Homes.com knows that when it comes to home shopping, it's never just about the house or condo. It's about the home. And what makes a home is more than just the house or property. It's the location and the neighborhood. If you have kids, it's also schools, nearby parks, and transportation options. That's why Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth information they need to find the right home. And when I say in-depth, I'm talking deep. Each listing features comprehensive information about the neighborhood, complete with a video guide. They also have details about local schools with test scores, state rankings, and student-to-teacher ratio. They even have an agent directory with the sales history of each agent. So when it comes to finding a home, not just a house, this is everything you need to know, all in one place. Homes.com. We've done your homework. The next witness to be interviewed was Judy's friend, Stephanie Hinchman, who was with her the day she went missing. Judy showed up at Stephanie's home after school. 20 minutes later, Tony and the boys showed up on their four-wheelers. They told Judy to come with them. Judy said no because she was hanging out with her friend. They got angry and Judy was scared. Judy wanted to spend the night with Stephanie, but Stephanie's mother wouldn't allow it because it was a school night. By 6:30 to 7 p.m., it was starting to get dark. Judy was afraid of the dark, so Stephanie walked her home. When they got to Judy's driveway, they saw Tony and David sitting outside with their four-wheelers. Their driveway connected to Judy's driveway. Stephanie asked Judy if she wanted her to walk to the door with her. Judy said no. She was going to hang out with Tony and David. Stephanie asked her if she was sure, and Judy said yes, so Stephanie left. Around 11:30 p.m., Stephanie was sitting in her room and heard four-wheelers driving past her house, which was situated on a main road. She thinks it was Tony and David because they were always out riding late at night. She believes Judy was likely with them.
Yeah, that would make sense if she saw them just shortly before this.
Stephanie also noted that if Judy was planning on meeting someone that night, she would have told Stephanie because they were best friends. And I do think there's a good case to be made for that, but I don't think it's absolute. Right? You think back, Gibbs, to when you were, 15, 16, 17, you had a best friend. You probably did share a lot with that person.
Yeah.
But could there be something that you didn't want even that person to know?
Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible. Levasseur uncovered a March 2003 interview with Michael Adam Turner, who was in jail at the same time as Tony Sierra. During their conversation, Tony described details that were not public knowledge. Turner said in the recorded interview, well, we were in a holding cell. We went to court, and he was like crying or whatever, and he said that she rode with him on the back of a four-wheeler or a motorcycle while he was driving in the woods. I can tell you there was a little store somewhere near where it happened because he said something about he picked her up at a little store. And he said that they went down there and apparently some other guys were already down there and talked her into having sex or whatever. And she willingly had sex with him. Yeah. And I guess whoever else was with him, if there was, he made it sound like there was at least a couple other people there. And then after she had consensual sex, she decided that whatever she had done with them or whatever she had started acting crazy about, like she didn't want to, like they raped her or whatever. And then he got scared about it. And I asked him, y'all kill her? And he never did say he killed her, but he said they tied a rope around her neck and pulled her on back of a motorcycle or a four-wheeler, whatever he was driving. He pulled her. I don't know exactly how he tied her up or anything, but I know he said something about her neck and that they covered her up. And he said he just said they hid her.
Wow. When you hear that and you think about how the body was found, about what was wrapped around her wrists, it makes sense.
It does. It does. But, I question everything. So did this information come from Tony Sierra, or did this Turner guy get the information somewhere else and claim that Tony said it?
Well, that's the problem with information like this.
It is because, we said, okay, some of these details were not public knowledge. That does kind of lend more towards maybe it coming from a person who was actually there. But could there be other ways that he could have gotten that information? Possibly. In the interview, Turner claimed he'd never heard anything about the case before and didn't know Tony prior to jail because he was from a different town. Retired lead detective Mark Brady claimed he'd never heard the interview before. Brady told Levasseur, "This Michael Turner interview, he's making statements about the scene, what was done at the scene that he shouldn't have known unless he was there. When we removed the body from the scene, there was a lot of breakdown between the head area and the shoulders. It was noted that Michael Turner was being released the day he had the conversation with Tony. And I think just from that fact, it kind of means that the guy really had nothing to gain by speaking to the police.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those typical jailhouse
informants. Yeah, where I'll tell you, you give me ramen noodles or reduce time or whatever. Again, you have to factor all this in when you're trying to gauge the credibility. You have the detective saying, this guy really shouldn't have known this information. And then he's already getting out that day, so what's in it for him? In July 2020, 36-year-old Tony Sierra was charged with felony statutory rape of a child by an adult and 2 counts of felony statutory sex offense with a child by an adult.
And he's just not a good guy.
No, they're absolutely not. Irrespective of whether or not you think he was involved in the murder of Judy Rawlings, this is not a good guy whatsoever. The High Point Enterprise reported that Sierra previously served 3.5 years in prison for a variety of charges, including felony incest, common law robbery, and driving while impaired.
Well, it sounds like prison sure didn't do anything to make him change his ways.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement. In 2020, Captain Chris Manis, the current lead detective, told the Enterprise that the evidence presented on the show Breaking Homicide was very factual, but the thing is, pulling it all together takes some time and a lot of work from the district attorney's office and the sheriff's office. Manis added, I haven't closed the door and probably won't, but sometimes with these cold cases, the longer they go, the harder it is to bring charges about. I'm still hopeful though, and we're still working with the DA's office to try and reach a conclusion. Tony Sierra is described as a person of interest in Judy's death, but he's never been charged. If you have any information about the murder of Judy Rawlings, contact Randolph County Crime Stoppers 24/7 at 336-672-7463 or call the Randolph County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigations Division at 336-318-6682. So, Gibbs, as we wrap this one up, like we've said, Tony Sierra is not a good guy. We already know that he's committed and been convicted of a number of different really heinous sexual crimes against children.
Right.
The question is, did he have anything to do with the murder of Judy Rawlings? He does have a number of things kind of, I don't know if you want to say working against him, but at least keeping him in the crosshairs. The fact that he acknowledged he was, the last person to see her.
Police say it takes time, but how long has it been? I mean, this happened in 2013.
It did. Now, I think what he was referring to was some of this information that kind of came to light from this show, Breaking Homicide, but that was still 2019.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while.
Now, you also have to ask the question, how were they able to put together some of that evidence and the police weren't?
Well, that's a good question. I think it's a question that the family would probably like to have answered.
I know I would.
Yeah. I'd want to know why you haven't been able to do this. And now that you know about this, what are you doing about it?
You know, you have the gentleman who was in jail with Tony. He doesn't seem to have really any compelling reason to come forward.
Really no benefit.
No benefit to coming forward other than maybe wanting to do the right thing. I don't know. There, obviously there's no way to come out and say that this guy had something to do with it. What I will say is there seems to be a lot of smoke there.
Sure.
There are a lot of things that make him look like a compelling person of interest. You'd have to say that.
I don't know what smoking gun they need to move forward on this, but hopefully they find that so they can move forward.
Well, I think the one thing they have in their favor is some DNA evidence.
Sure, yeah.
Now, they've apparently had it tested, like we always talk about, right? DNA technology advances very rapidly. So I definitely don't think this one's out of the realm of possibility that we're gonna end up finding out one way or the other.
Yeah. Maybe it will be solved one day.
Yep, I think so. But that's it for our episode on Judy Rawlings. We got a voicemail. You want to check that out?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Hey, Mike and Gibby. This is Ashley, and I am in Southwest Ohio. I just listened to the Michelle O'Connell episode on Unsolved, and I'm not even going to address the episode except for Paramore. I am not Team Gibby or Team Mike, but knowing that Gibby loves Paramore and Mike, you've never heard of them, and one, you listen to country music, I am now Team Gibby all the way. I need Mike this week to go and look up Paramore at the Eras Tour. They opened for Taylor Swift for a while in Europe. And I know, I can see now, Mike is like rolling his eyes because I mentioned the Eras Tour, but believe me, you have to listen to me and go and look up Paramore at the Eras Tour. And I need to hear your response because your mind is going to be blown at the talent of this band, and specifically the lead singer. I need to know what you think, and I need you to listen to it and report back. Thank you guys so much for all your work. I need to get Mike up on all of these cultural things. So Gibby, keep trying. I know you're doing the Lord's work here. Talk to you later. Bye.
That is the first time anybody has ever said that about you. So yeah, I have no idea who Paramore is. On the internet, as I just looked it up during that voicemail, it says they're an American rock band formed in Franklin, Tennessee. Alternative indie is the genre listed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're more country or
no.
Okay.
No.
So I do listen to country.
You do.
But I actually have not listened to new country or much of it probably since we've been podcasting. So
true.
If I get in my truck tomorrow and go down the street, iTunes is going to pull up like 2018 or earlier country.
You're a Kenny Chesney guy.
I'm a Jason Aldean guy. I mean, I love all country, but I only want to hear the country I know the words to.
Well, yeah.
So my wife and daughter, they listen to all the new stuff. I don't know any of the new people or the new song. So
not yet. You don't.
No, but I will find Paramore's most famous song and give it a listen.
Yeah. Give it a listen. I did some vocal training with her. Got that voice right where she needed it.
Yeah.
So,
does she do accents too? And stuff
she tries. She tries. She's not as good as I am with those, but
who is?
But she can definitely belt out some tunes.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that's my homework then.
There you go.
All right, buddy. That is it for another episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved. So for Mike
and Gibby,
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.
This November, action is free on Pluto TV. Go on the run with Jack Reacher.
Every suspect was a trained killer.
Then buckle up for Drive, World War Z.
Every human being we save is one less to fight.
And Charlie's Angels.
Damn, I hate to fly.
Launch into sci-fi adventure with The Fifth Element and laugh through the mayhem in Tropic Thunder.
What is going on here?
All the thrills, all for free. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.